What up, y'all? It's your girl, Miss Behavior, Willow B, Miss Coach, Miss Whatever it takes. You know me, you know what I do. Today's another episode of Fresh Friday. And today's apparel, Richmond Spiders t-shirt. Shout out to the University of Richmond. And I got on my Miss Behavior. This is one of my original logos for my music. So let me offer you that fresh perspective for today. So today's topic is when opportunity knocks. And of course, you know, I got all kinds of stories I want to share, but I want to get down to the nitty gritty. So I was once upon a time lost, didn't know where I was, what I needed to do in my life, and that's probably what got me into a lot of the mess that I got into. So short story, quick story, you know, I got a few. I was working at this Italian restaurant, and one of my regulars came in and she asked me, like, what are you doing here? Basically, not just speaking to me, like, why are you working here, but more so like, yo, you got a degree, why you just sitting on it? Under her advice, I ended up applying to this fitness center. Worked there for about a year, part-time. The following year, there came up an opportunity to be a manager. The requirement for being a manager was for me to have my personal trainer certification. I didn't have it, but they give you 6 months to get it. So I'm like, all right, bet. That 6 months? Not a problem. Probably not the best idea, but it was an opportunity and I took it. Fast forward again, I went from being an assistant to a head manager, and from a head manager back to just a regular employee. The problem with this situation was the opportunity was there, but I didn't capitalize on the way I thought I should have. At the time, you know, it was what, 2011, 2012. I was on the track to go pro for basketball, whether it was overseas or WNBA, that's what I wanted to do. Whatever path it would have taken me, that's what I wanted. That's a story for another time. But being in a place where I don't know, you know, and kind of being lost, trust me when I tell you, you don't want anybody just finding you. If anything, you want to find yourself on your journey. Along the way, I just made some bad decisions. And those decisions included, like, I took 7 different personal training tests. And I didn't pass any of them. And don't get me wrong, I'm a very smart person. I'm a great test taker. But the reality was, there wasn't my timing. I remember watching Allen Iverson, and he was on the interview, and some reporter said to him, you know, were you disappointed with your career in the NBA because you didn't win the title? And he simply reminded them, like, hey, that's not what God had for me. That blew my mind, because I'm thinking, like, yo, like, anything I put my mind to, I could do. I seize the opportunity. I take the moment, you know, when opportunity knocks, I answer. But the reality is, when I'm doing it for somebody else to get, like, praise, if you will, from man or their acknowledgement, it just doesn't turn out well for me. So if this is you, let me just give you some pointers real quick, because I don't want anybody to make the same mistakes I did. And again, I'm just offering you a fresh perspective on this thing. So when opportunity knocks, ask yourself, who am I doing this for? Am I doing this for myself? You know, am I gaining something for myself, like professional development, personal development, social development? Like, what am I doing this for? Everything we do got to have a purpose. We got to be intentional about the things we do. We don't just want to kind of haphazardly do stuff, because that's when we mess up, right? But then also, the second question you want to ask yourself, if I'm doing it for someone else, what am I gaining? Prime example, I'll do anything for my family. You know what I'm saying? I will always say, yo, if I hit the lottery or if I make $1 million, like, I'm going to pay off my debts and my family's debts. But that's because I want to create generational wealth. That's something totally different from, oh, I am doing this for my boss because she knows I'm dependable. Yeah, you can be dependable, but at some point, you got to do something for you too. I'm not telling you to be a rebel against your boss or your organization, but what I am saying is this. Sometimes we take these opportunities to do things to better ourselves, but at the same token, we're actually draining ourselves. We get to a place where people find us so dependable, so reliable, that they're always pulling us to do things, and let's just be honest. Sometimes you don't feel like doing the stuff that everybody else hadn't done or picking up the slack. Don't burn yourself out. And that's what I'm getting to with this third point. Yo, don't burn yourself out trying to please everybody. You can't be everything for everybody. And I know it sounds cruel. I know it sounds cold. But at the end of the day, I have this philosophy about working. My position is refillable, but I am not replaceable. I had some bosses back in the day talking about, oh, you know, you're replaceable. Okay, my position is refillable, but I am not replaceable. And that philosophy came from, I had a terrible anxiety attack on the job back in 2016. And that anxiety attack basically put me out of commission. Like, I had to quit my job for my health. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, like, when your health is on the line, you need to do whatever it takes to get your health back in order. And when I did it, it was the most liberating experience of my life, because I did it for me. And I stopped thinking about everybody else and putting everybody else before me, and actually put myself first for once. And sometimes that's what you got to do. I'm not saying abandon your family, abandon your friends, abandon your job. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. But I am suggesting at some point, when these opportunities come up for you to excel, take them. But don't take so many opportunities that you burn yourself out because you're trying to impress somebody else. At the end of the day, you got one life to live. So don't think that you Superman or Superwoman because we watch the videos and the episodes, the solar flares that Superman has. That means he's basically burnt out. Don't take yourself to the place where you're burnt out. Last advice I want to give you is, if you don't do it for anybody else, you don't have the energy to do it for yourself, you don't want to do it for your family, do it for somebody who needs to hear your story. That's the whole reason why I do Fresh Friday, because I have gone through so much. And I know somebody out there needs to hear my story. When I went to church, they said we overcome by the words of our testimony. And there's a lot of stories that I've heard in the church, on YouTube, on Facebook, on IG, just all the type of social media. And a lot of people's stories, they just touch me and they help me realize like there's more to my life than what I've been thinking that it was. And for me, I can be a better version of myself. I can become more than what I ever thought I could. And even in my lowest moments when I want to quit, those stories help me, kind of dig myself out of that hole. So if you can't do it for you, if you can't do it for family, do it for the person who needs to hear your story. Everybody has a story to tell, and you just don't know how much you might impact somebody. So like I told you a couple videos before, I won't stop doing this because I know somebody needs to learn from my mistakes. Please learn from my mistakes. Don't do it the hard way, and just don't do it the hard way. It's not worth it. But it's your girl, Miss Behavior. It's whatever it takes. Remember, when opportunity knocks, answers. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Don't do it for the praise of people. But most importantly, do it because somebody needs to hear your story. You have worth. You have value. And you dope. Bottom line, you the best. So have a great weekend. Enjoy your time with your family in your quarantine. Take advantage of this time outside. As you can see, I'm outside soaking in some of this afternoon sun rays. And just take the opportunity to do something different for yourself. Oh, real quick, I got my transformation specialist certification, so your girl is closer to her goal, to her dream. Y'all just go do the work. We got this. You got this. It's your girl, and I'm out.